Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Before we get to the interview, let me introduce our special guest. Dr. Colin Bolinger holds a doctorate of business administration from National University, focusing on human resources in the fitness industry. He also studied sports and recreation management for his master's degree at Indiana State and graduated from the sports management program at the University of Iowa. At Indiana State, Colin was an assistant coach for the men's basketball program and guided them to their fourth NCAA playoff appearance in 40 years. If that wasn't enough, Dr. Bolinger also held many positions in sports business. He is a program director for more than 13 sports with 200 participants at a gym in North Tampa. He has worked as a corporate wellness coordinator for a multi-facility retirement community and serves as the program director for Rip City Basketball, a nonprofit organization which you can donate and check out by clicking the links below. He is so passionate about what he does, his leadership has impacted thousands of basketball players, showcasing his commitment to the sport and its development. With that said, it was an honor to interview him and hear his thoughts about sports culture and its future projections. It can go anywhere. I might not even get to every question, but let's just have fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So first question, what made you so passionate about sports and sports culture and fundraising for sports?
I think the sports part just starts with I'm super competitive. It's when that's the interview question, when somebody says, what's your biggest strength? It's my strength and weakness. It definitely is. I mean, I was just talking to a friend of mine this morning and I was just like telling him about the sleep thing. And I was like, part of the sleep thing is like every single day, like I think I got to get everything out of every single minute. And it's like,
that's not a bad thing though.
No,
it keeps you productive.
I definitely think of it as a blessing more than a curse for sure. But it's been that way since I was born. Like every class I take, like that's, that we were talking about that, how, he would be really engaged in the classes he was in and then just to sit out the other class. It doesn't matter. It's going to be for something that is graded. It's definitely going to be something I'm competing for, first off, but just in general.
I know you play sports too. So I know you're a big basketball guy.
Yep.
Do you play other sports besides basketball or?
Yeah, I love sports in general. I don't play any organized ones right now, but I have been in flag football leagues.
Oh, nice.
Softball leagues, volleyball, beach volleyball league. I haven't done indoor volleyball, but so I've done lots of different sports for sure. I mean, I was program director for a couple different gyms. So
yeah. Tell me about that. I was interested in that. So you did a lot of, you had your own organization was it like for basketball leagues and stuff? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I still actually have the organization. It's a nonprofit I've had for 10 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I still have it. When COVID kind of hit, we were always renting schools for our situation, and the schools, were shut down. And then even when they came back, you weren't able to get into the schools as much. It's very challenging. It's still very challenging to this day to get into the schools.
Why is that?
Not anything to do with COVID. Right. It's more because the litigation aspect of it and the potential for for financial harm.
Oh, okay.
And now that they put the COVID policies in place, they just never removed them because it just keeps them safe.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say about 80% of the schools that were really open have just done it that way. Oh. And it's not just schools. I will also say our fundraising take a huge hit because we used to be able to, I would just go to a Publix or go to Winn-Dixie and I would ask for a Saturday and we'd go from 8 to 8 and we'd be guaranteed to make $1,000. I just put the cutest kids out there and they just ask for money. I just put up a big poster of all our basketball. We make $1,000. Absolutely not. You can, you have to have an in with the manager or the other thing they give you, they give you the same line, all the corporate ones. They say, we currently have contracts with the Boys and Girls Club of America and the Salvation Army, which is the Jingle Bell Ringers. And that's the only ones we do.
Wow.
So, and that started at COVID and it was like they were reading off a script and they never got rid of it. And it,
so how are you still fundraising now? Or?
Yeah. So there's definitely been a lot of things that changed creatively. So back to really quickly, when we got shut down going into the schools, got to a point where I was renting a warehouse down here, and most of my players are in North Tampa. And that, you know, some guy just put a gym in a warehouse, and I was like, why don't I just do this? And so that's basically what I did.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I built a little training facility, and I had that for 3 years until I got hired here. And it just, you know, I wasn't against keeping it open, but it takes an extreme amount of passion and energy, and there wasn't going to be able to be successful without me keeping the facility open. The facility itself, I lived there, you know. Wow. So we don't have the facility anymore, but we still have the program, and things are going fine. So, but as far as fundraising goes, there's a lot of new options, that the apps that have come out have made it really easy. So, Money Dolly is an app that we use, but there's other apps like that, where they basically, you get all of your players or whatever organization you have, and they just make a friend circle. You know, you ask them to get 5, sometimes they get 10, sometimes they get 50, whatever. And you'll do it for 3 weeks, and it'll just send an introductory thing that says, last year we went to Disney World, said, hey, we're trying to raise money to go to Disney World. We need money for hotels and a team bus and all this stuff, right? And it just sends them 3 texts, the first day, in the middle, and then the last day, and says you have like 7 hours left. And it's like super simple, but people, you know, they can give it right on the app and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's super convenient.
Yes.
Just sends it to them. They just donate. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And the apps are the one we use was pretty customizable. You had to have a large organization for Money Dolly. I'm not like trying to promote them, but
right.
They won't even take organizations that have less than 50 fundraisers and things like that. So we qualified for it, and when you qualify for it, they have a person who walks you through it. Which is pretty awesome. And they'll build you a store too. So we did a second one. After we did the first one, we did a second one where we built a store with our own gear.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it wasn't just donations. It was, they could buy t-shirts and things like that. So we did it twice with them, and both times was really awesome. And then they have on the back end, all the participants, we put them in teams, right? So like my 5th grade team was facing my 7th grade team. And, for us, I think, the winning team got their Disney tickets paid for or something like that, you know, something like that. So, but you can see it's a pretty cool system. Yeah. Yeah. So at the time we had 9 teams, and 1 was a girls team, and the girls team did a separate, fundraiser for their event, just because, they were smaller, and I took them to a 3-on-3 tournament that was at the Gaylord Palms, and that was the month before, and it was really cool. But we did Disney with all our boys teams, and I had 8 teams from my youngest. I don't know if it was 4th through 12th or 3rd through 11th, something like that. Almost every grade level. Yeah.
So it must be a pretty big organization.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
We had, I think our around 80 participants on a monthly basis, because you have to have about 10 per team.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, and that's, you know, kind of shifting it. That was one of the biggest changes building this organization in just what has happened in youth sports in the last 10 years. When I was playing AAU 20 years ago, there was 4 months of an AAU season, travel ball season, and that was it. You played from March through July, and you were done. It's year round now. And that's the only reason I could open a facility like that, because I just, you know, we had students.
Oh, sorry. That shouldn't affect the lighting too much. Oh, it's okay. We'll just keep rolling.
All right. So, so we had players, some that would be on their school teams, and their coaches would allow it, and they would play all year round. Some players were even getting to the point, and this is going beyond just like, you know, the mid-level players. They don't even want to go to high school, because the high school rules of because their coaches can only see them so many hours. They'd rather just stay on their AAU team and practice 40 hours a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they're also now they're branding themselves with their social media content in high school and things like that. So they don't want to be in high school and having to go through and do whatever the high school teams have to do. It's a completely different situation. So it is completely changed. Yeah.
Has there been a higher demand for like those separate leagues and people playing in schools and
definitely
schools now?
Definitely. Absolutely. Wow. Yeah. And it's a sports thing, but I mean, it's also an educational thing. We see the rise in like private school system and homeschool system, all that stuff. So yeah, it's way different than the standard, like, hey, this is your elementary school and high school that you're zoned for. This is where you're going to play. This, you know, everybody is about options and freedom. And that part of it's good for sure.
So do you guys bring in like a bunch of different coaches to work on specific things in developing your players, or?
So we definitely have had camps and things like that where we've had specific thing attributes that we're trying to improve and whatnot. But in general, I try to have coaches like for a couple age groups, so I'd usually have one coach would have two teams, like the 9th grade team and a 10th grade team. Usually they'd want to take teams that are pretty similar because then they can have a combined practice.
Okay.
Right. So it gives them a little bit more option in their practicing system. So, so it just depends, 4th and 5th grade would be together and things like that. So, that was usually the coaches that I had. I have some friends, that still play overseas, and they would come down and do camps and things like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yep. Yeah. I know there are, Teddy Dupay, he's here in Tampa. He played for University of Florida. He's a super famous player from Florida. And he does amazing camps, and he'll do like shooting only camp, like things like that. So there definitely are camps out there like that. We didn't really get to that size where we were specializing like that. But, for us, we did evaluations twice a year with players, and if players wanted to get, we'd be like, hey, this is a weakness in your game, and if you're trying to get towards this level, we would definitely have players doing individual trainings that were working on specific stuff for sure.
I remember you mentioned how sports culture has changed. Now, I play sports, I like sports, I watch a little bit of sports, but I don't know much about sports. I mean, rules are always changing and stuff. Sometimes it's hard for me to even keep up with all the rules and stuff. But what have you noticed about sports culture that has changed, probably from like our generation to the generation right now that's grown up?
Yeah. So, the power to the player, I would say, it's gone away from the teams, and even above the teams, it was the institutions essentially that had so much of the power, and the players, whether that's recreational level or even professional players, have gained so much more of their independent power. And there's been a ton of reasons for that change.
Kind of like, just to make sure I'm on the same page with you, kind of like if you have an elite basketball player, he can kind of run the team more so than the coach or something like that. Is that what you're kind of into?
Yeah, not so much that. Yes, that's kind of it, but more in the sense that the players have so many options. And the families have so many options, and so that it's not just a top down, you're going to do what I say. It's a collaboration a lot more. I wouldn't say it's like not like a cowtailing to like, a player. There are coaches that do that. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And then you have toxic teams. Good teams don't do that, and good players want to be on good teams, but the players themselves just have more autonomy and more power because they have more options. There's more mobility, just financial mobility to move away or do whatever you want. So there's a ton of that, and it goes, like I said, it goes all the way up to the pros, the professional contracts. In the last 20 years of collective bargaining agreements have given their contracting power has gotten significantly higher, whether they can leave a team earlier, or be able to use the financial power of the ways the incentives are based. So that's why, like in the NBA, you see like 20 to 30% of the top players change every single year. That was not happening in the early 90s. You'd see Patrick Ewing, Reggie Miller always played against Michael Jordan.
Right.
That was and they were on the same teams. They were on the Knicks and the Pacers, so there was
that makes sense.
Yeah, so and there's a nostalgia for that, but the freedom is nice, and we're a free country, and I think it's as far as like a overall philosophy, I like that the players have those options. There are definitely things that complicate it. But
is that one of the reasons why you see more super teams in professional leagues?
Yeah.
And is it true that you see more super teams now than you did before? Because it seems like some teams are just trying to gravitate all the talent just to win a championship.
So I actually think that there's a little bit of that, but not so much of that as there's just so many good players.
Oh, I see.
Like the dominant players in the 80s and 90s, there's like 5 of them, like, Magic, Michael Bird, like you knew they were dominant. There's like 20 now that are all there. Like you might know that. Yeah, exactly.
I never even thought of that, because I'm like, there's so many good players, but in my mind, I thought, well, there was always this many good players.
No, I don't think so. I don't think that the talent pool was as wide as it is now.
Oh,
I
okay.
definitely don't think that. I think from top to bottom, in not just basketball, in all the sports, the talent pool is really impressive, and that comes from sports specialization at young ages and better training methodologies, better nutritional methodologies. All of that has improved our athletes. Like, some people make the arguments like, oh, he couldn't play in the 60s. Like, no, these guys would, all of them in all of their sports, they would dominate 50 years ago. And that's just evolution. Like, that's just how it is.
I've read somewhere that athletes now are just getting faster, stronger. They're just getting more accurate in everything they're doing. And that could be part of the specialization training from a kid that we're investing more into their resources and support. But it just seems like athletes are getting stronger, faster, just upping the game in every way.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I used to have this discussion even in like high school with some of my friends, because if you look at the Olympics, there's Olympic world records beaten every single time, and you're like, is there a physical point where there's going to be a limit, right?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Whether it's swimming, and like, how do they keep breaking it if like Michael Phelps was so amazing, like, and then and before him, what was the guy that did the triathlon or whatever, anyway, or the decathlon, but anyway, so like you always or Usain Bolt, like, there's no way they're getting faster than 9.2 in the 100, like somebody gets 9.1, somebody gets like where is there a physical limit to it? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if there is, or if we keep evolving to a point,
It seems like the body can only handle so much, but then the body is resilient as well.
Yeah.
So you can form and condition it to go above and beyond what we currently know our athletes are capable of.
Yeah.
But one interesting thing that always kind of got me thinking was, in sports today, when you look at athletes compared to like, athletes back in like even the early 1900s, this is like their full-time job now.
Yes.
A lot of them do this as, they live, sleep, and eat sports.
Yep.
As opposed to before, they were working a regular full-time job, and they did sports on the side.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, if we have our athletes doing sports full-time now, maybe we're reaching that limit of how much we can do, what the body can handle.
Yeah, no, I definitely think that we've got to get to a point where that limit is, and you're totally right. The sport specialization is usually the term that we use, so that you're specializing in that, becoming basically an expert, a mastery in that, and the approach to that is way different than Babe Ruth's approach, right? So there's definitely a difference to that. I don't know where the limit is, because the other interesting thing is now we have these super advanced mental sciences, and the mind, we know, creates certain limits, right? If we're able to break those down, then it's going to change our physical limits. So like, that's a whole, another spectrum, but still, I don't know where to say it's going to stop,
Yeah, no, because the mental game's a big part of it too.
Yeah.
And I think it was Tom Brady that said the difference between like a good player and a great player is, and you can finish the quote for me, I kind of forgot. He said a great player can perform well under pressure or something like that. Don't quote me, but I think that's a really good quote, because I play sports, and there are times where I had a really good game, but I'm not the guy you give the ball to win the game. I would be the guy where I'd be too anxious, and I don't want to let everyone down and all that stuff. So
and I was usually the opposite. Actually, I was usually the third best player on my team, but I hit so many shots at the end of the game. It'd be some other guy scored 24 and I would score 13, but
you like the clutch play.
I love it.
And we need that competitive drive too. I think a lot of it is personality too. And it could be something to do with testosterone levels and everything like that. And I just see, and this might be getting towards like sports fiction, but I think somewhere down the road, I understand we kind of, we ban steroids and all that stuff, but I'm thinking somewhere down the road, it might be acceptable to allow people to use these enhancers. Probably to because like we're talking about, people are already reaching the limit. In order to go beyond the limit, we might start allowing some legal, safe form.
I definitely think that will happen. I do think that, because we're going to be able to make things so safe, that's the biggest reason that initially was because the danger of, you're going to have a heart attack by taking anabolic steroids over and over and over, right? So like once we were able to make it completely safe, I do think it'll be legalized, and that will help the jump as well. One term that I wanted to mention to you that you were kind of getting on with the Tom Brady topic. Brad Stevens, he is right now the general manager for the Boston Celtics. So they just won the title last year, right? So he was also a coach for the Boston Celtics and a coach for Butler. He wrote his dissertation thesis. He's a doctorate. I'm not sure if it's in sports management or specifically what it is, but it's similar to my field. And he wrote his dissertation on biokinetic intelligence is a term that he phrases. And he drafts his players based on this.
Oh, wow.
And he has a test that he built for it where he makes you take an IQ test. I'm not sure if it's exactly an IQ test, but it's some type of intelligence test under no physical stress at all. And then you have to take the same test like while you're running at like 10 miles an hour on a treadmill, right? And he is able to test the way that your brain is able to function intellectually under physical stress and demands. And so that's, I think, kind of what you're talking about with Tom Brady. It was, like, it's not just the pressure of the outside world and the created social pressures, but the physical demanding pressure of like, you're at your 80-90% max. Are you able to make those decisions? Like, especially in the sports, like running a straight line, maybe not as much, but the critical thinking sports, being a pitcher or being a quarterback, those things,
quick thinking, making smart decisions. All that's a big factor in sports, especially those clutch moments that can win or lose a game.
So that's a very interesting topic that is being studied considerably for sure.
One thing I always liked about the Boston Celtics was, well, within the past few years, like they had kind of the same guys. They traded a few, but they brought in Porzingis a couple of years ago, but they had they kept Tatum they kept Brown, and they built that team up, even though they came so close. And a lot of people are like, you know what, you come this close and you don't win. It's kind of like, this is when you got to start making changes. But no, they kept those same guys and they won a championship.
And that, I would say, shifts to our on-demand culture. The team, I think the fact, and this goes all the way down to like kids and their ability to have attention span, the fact that we can just get whatever we want on demand has changed the way that we view everything into society, So I think that's part of it. Like, I think when you had to wait every week to watch your favorite Seinfeld or whatever it was, you also thought you had to wait for the New York Knicks to be good enough to beat the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like, so they were willing to let things build. You were conditioned habitually not to have to wait for anything, right? And so that flows into everything. So every time that there's something that you're uncomfortable with, whether you're a fan of a team or anything else, you're going to say change is needed, so that goes to a whole societal level of
No, I like how you brought in how culture affects everything, because that is true. People are like, we want to win games now. We want a championship now. Rather than we see development and potential, but that could be 2-3 years down the road. We want something now, So that's really interesting. And you can, like you said, you can look at everything in society, from groceries. We can have people deliver it to us. Our food, DoorDash, everything instantly. So that's really interesting. When it comes to, kind of want to go back to sports. When it comes to that culture and having that on-demand things, do you think that's one of the reasons why they make these big trades that they do? Like, for example, I don't follow it too much, but I had no idea why Luka was traded to the Lakers. I'm like, he was the Mavs star player. And I heard he was traded. To me, that was a big shocker. And
it is a huge shocker.
Maybe I got to talk to Colin to clarify that for me, because I haven't followed up with that.
Yeah, it is a huge shocker. The part that, and this has been underreported, which I've been surprised about. I think it's an angle that some journalists could take and get a pretty good beat on. But the NBA 2 or 3 years ago changed its payment structure to players. And so the way the NBA works is they have what's called a soft cap, or like a floating cap. So there's 180, let's say 180 million is the cap for each team. They're allowed to go over that, but there's different tiers. So at the first tier, if you go, let's say 180 to 200 million, you have to pay 20 million back into basically the pot of teams. So you're just giving 20 million to all the other teams.
Oh, wow.
Then when you get like, let's say 200 to 240 million, you're in tier 2. Now you pay 1.5%. So you're already paying more than other teams to your team, right? Now that extra 40 million, you're paying 60 million to everybody else's team. And then if you get into tier 3, you have to pay double of whatever you're paying your players. So essentially, yeah. So you're essentially
so the higher you go, the more you're paying back.
Yes, yep. So you essentially have to pay 3 times as much to that player.
Oh, wow.
And you don't, the player doesn't even end up getting it. The other teams do, because that's revenue sharing. That's, that's part of antitrust, and all of that happened years ago. And only the professional leagues can really do that. But still, that changed. I don't think people understood how much that was going to change the way the teams and the owners thought, right? I think they thought these owners are so rich that they won't care about the penalty. They'll want to win. And that's one of the main reasons that Luka got traded. So his contract and Kyrie's contract would both have been able to be negotiated this summer. And together they would be about $590 million over 5 years.
Wow.
Which is like 2 players.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they would be paying out absurd amounts into the collected revenue sharing. And I think that has a lot more to do with it than people are saying. So the Luka's contract was going to be the biggest in league history. So by trading him rather than Kyrie, they're able to keep Kyrie. They're probably still going to pay Kyrie. His contract is considerably less, because there's another part of it where if you've been with a team for, I think, 5 years and you were an all-NBA player, you get the Supermax. And Kyrie doesn't qualify for that, but Luka does. So that's why they decided to trade Luka. Everybody's like, why didn't they trade Kyrie? Because they can still build their team with Kyrie. So it's a huge reason why they traded him, I believe. It's a huge reason why Golden State did not go back-to-back when they won with Steph against Boston a couple of years ago. That's when it kicked in, and they had to get rid of players, and that's why they don't have Clay and all those things. So
wow.
It has affected the league.
I always knew money played a big role in it, but like, I don't know all the, the politics and the financial and the contracts. I don't know any of that, but I just know money plays a big role in how decisions are made. Because I'm like, you have so much talent, and sometimes you see these irrational moves that might seem irrational on the court, but behind there's a lot of rational reasons for
that's exactly what I believe happened. Yes, and again, I've been very surprised that people have taken the angles they've taken. Like they've taken the angle that Luka was out of shape, or they've taken the angle that
I saw one that he was a bad defensive player.
Yeah, or even that he wasn't as welcoming of a teammate or something. I've seen all these different angles, and there may be some merit to those. But also from like a sports journalist point of view, I'm surprised somebody hasn't taken the financial angle a little bit harsher, because you can, like I said, you can get like more views on that, So anyway, it's been very interesting to me how that's played out. And that goes into public relations and your agents and how you're able to shift that and move that. Yeah. So it's very interesting.
I know we talked about Bronny James, and I know you shared your thoughts about that. Mind sharing that again?
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people sympathize with you.
Yeah. So Bronny is a super interesting case, because this kind of gets us into a really awesome topic that everybody's on everybody's minds in the college atmosphere, is the NIL, the name, image, and likeness, that just happened 3 years ago. So Bronny actually, even though he only played 14 games for USC last year, he was the highest paid NIL player in the whole country, because he had the State Farm commercial and everything. So he made either 5.9 or 6.9 million. I think it was 5.9 million in last year. And he's paid more than Caitlin Clark, right? Like, and Caitlin was the second highest paid, don't get me wrong, but he didn't even play but 14 games. He was injured, and he only averaged like 7 points a game. So, he's also the lowest ever scoring average for a McDonald's All-American. So, the big thing with sports is that it is 100% meritocracy that most of us look at, right? So whoever's the best, they're going to get to play, and we're going to get to see him play. And he's the one person right now that is outside of that sphere.
Right.
And that's what I think a lot of people have frustrations with. So I think this is a really good example. I saw Gilbert Arenas had a take on this, and he was like, oh, well, even if he's not the best player, he had the number 1 selling jersey in the NBA in the first quarter. He sold $50 million worth of jerseys. And he's like, even if he's not the best player, then he should still be on that team because he's selling the most jerseys. Okay, that would be like the same thing as Drake, who's a super fan of Toronto. It'd be like hiring Drake to be a Toronto Raptors basketball player because his jersey will sell the most.
Right.
But if you go down that road, you're going to end up hiring just Mr. Beast and whoever the biggest people are, Justin Bieber on the planet, and we're going to have terrible basketball.
Right.
So, like, you can't, that rationale is completely absurd to run a business.
It's a different priority.
Yeah.
Rather than selling tickets, you're selling jerseys.
Yeah. And so, and you're going to end up not selling any tickets or jerseys if you put a terrible product on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So,
exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, I appreciate LeBron's maturity in all of this because people have said nasty stuff about Bronny.
But I think he understands.
Yeah, exactly. But it's hard no matter what. As a parent, you're going to like the fact that he gets asked questions that I'm sure he would want to react to.
Yeah.
So he does a really great job. Bronny is a good kid who's worked very hard. I'm not even against that he got an opportunity and all those things, but I can already see the market is going to play him out of it. It it should be.
Do you think after James retires, whenever he does, do you think his son's going to stay in very long? Probably not.
Oh, I don't think his son's going to last as long as LeBron is.
Oh, really?
I think he will be on the team this year.
His contract's at least 2 years.
3 years. Yeah, he got, which is crazy to give a second rounder a 3-year contract. No second rounders ever got that. But, but regardless, I think, because like I said, the competition is so amazing by so many of these players, he'll get pushed out just naturally before. I think LeBron could play another 5 years if he wanted. I don't know how long he's going to play, but LeBron, I mean, I know that's crazy to say because he's 40 years old, but I mean, he's great still. So like in the Olympics, he was amazing. Like he's a great player. So,
I mean, I do have to ask you because, you're obviously very knowledgeable. You know more about all this than most people. There's the debate between who's the GOAT in basketball. And I always go to basketball because I tend to watch basketball more than most sports. So I know a little bit more, but when you take the big guys like Jordan and James, I mean, just what are your thoughts on that?
So very interesting because I have this conversation consistently with my friends because it's updating, right? LeBron's still playing. So, a friend of mine asked me last night, he was like, hey, now that Luka's on the team, because the first game went amazing. They looked great last night together. It was their first game together. They're like, they said, if LeBron wins a title this year, even as the second fiddle to Luka, would he be considered the greatest of all time to me? And I said yes. As of right now, I do not have him as the greatest of all time. I would say Michael. And I understand the longevity aspect of it versus the peak aspect of it and all of that stuff.
I mean, and sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead. No.
One way to measure greatness is by championships.
Yep.
And another way is by stats. What would you weigh more on, stats or championships?
Oh, I weigh pretty evenly on both, I would say. I value stats a lot, but I also value championships and winning considerably. And I know that they don't always correlate.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I mean, you can look at Tom Brady's first 3 championships, and his stats did not correlate to being a championship quarterback, not at all. But adding the 4 with good stats makes him unbelievable, right? So for me, my biggest thing is, and again, LeBron has had more opportunities for this, but I've seen LeBron fail more often in the worst spots. And again, that's a hard argument because if Jordan had made it to the championship level a few times in the 80s, he probably would have lost. But I didn't see him. I saw him lose in the first round and he was out and I didn't think about it. I saw Magic and Bird, right? So the 6 for 6 versus 4 for 10, like that's just really hard for me. For you to lose more finals when you only have 7 games and you're considered the best in the world, like most of the time you should be able to pull that off.
Yeah, that's
what's hard.
That's one of my thinking too, is because I'm like, when you make it to the finals and you win it, and you're like, hey, this is this is it.
Yeah.
We might not come back next
Yeah.
season. Michael capitalized on that, and he won all 6.
Yes.
James had, what, 10, you said? 10
He's been there
tries?
10 times and he's won 4.
He won 4. And 1 year was COVID year. A lot of people don't consider that. I don't know
Yeah.
what your thoughts are on that, but COVID years seem to be like an easier year.
Yeah, I give that one full credit just because of the complexity of having to deal with it and the stress of life for everybody.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, for me, like they, I get what you're saying, because when they went to the bubble, there were certain players, good players, who just said, I'm not going to go. I'm too scared of COVID.
Right.
So there was a diminished level of talent that year per se, but the overall amount of stress, because everyone was so scared, that heightened the pressure to me. So I don't discount that one at all. I also 100% think that Jordan shouldn't have played baseball and he would have had 8 in a row. And that is wild to me. Like there's just no way. So like 8 in a row versus that, I know it's hypothetical, but that's 8 in a row versus 4 out of 10.
Right.
So that's where I'm like, your peak was 8 straight years of winning championships versus, a peak, a longevity of 20 years and 10 championships. That's why I fall there. But if he does it again now at 40 years old and he's the second best player and he wins a 5th one out of 11, I would put him past him. And only barely.
And past Kobe and Duncan, who also have 5.
I'm so glad you said Kobe and Duncan, because most people say Kobe and Magic, or Kobe and Wilt, or Kobe and Kareem. Kobe and Duncan, that again, both 5 out of 7 championships. They both won their 5 out of 7 championships against each other. So if Kobe didn't have Tim Duncan, would he have 10 out of 14?
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if Tim Duncan didn't have Kobe, would he have 10 out of 14? Because they were directly competitors during the exact same career. So that's something that people do not talk about. They do not talk about when those two faced against each other. And that's why I have Kobe 3rd. And I don't know if I have Tim Duncan 4th or 5th. But because Kareem is up there for me. But he did 6, I think, in 6 out of 10. And he was the all-time leading scorer until LeBron. So, but Tim Duncan to me is higher than most people.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of shaded out. A lot of people don't talk about him as much.
Yeah.
He's definitely up there with the best.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And Magic Johnson's an interesting one because he was 5 out of 9 championships. He only played 11 seasons because he had AIDS, cut it short.
Yeah.
So in 11 seasons, he went 9 times. He won 5. And the Michael Jordan's first championship, the Lakers were up 2-1, and then he tore his hamstring.
Oh, okay.
And they were going to win that championship, and Michael would have 5, and then Magic would have 6. And then the whole discussion's different, right? So
there's so many different variables we have to, and if you don't know these things, it's not as simple.
Yeah, there's a lot of context that goes into the GOAT discussion for sure. It's not just
who was that on the Celtics? He won like 12. Was it Russell?
Yeah.
How come he's not brought up as much? Is it because back then the league wasn't as strong as it is today?
Yeah, absolutely. When he won his first championship, there were only 8 teams in the league.
Oh, okay.
So that's the first thing. Secondly, there was during the prime of their championships, it was either the 4th or 5th year they won a championship. They had 7 All-Stars. So 2 of their bench players were All-Stars.
Oh, wow.
There was only 12 All-Stars on the East. And so they had 7 of the 12.
Wow. They had all the talent.
All of them. Yes.
Okay.
There was no salary cap. They were just, it was a completely different world, business-wise, league-wise, everything. So that's why people discount him. And I think it is valid to discount it, even though he's great. And also he went up 1-on-1 against Wilt Chamberlain, and Wilt Chamberlain's performances were so amazing in comparison to Bill Russell's performances.
Okay.
But that partially is because Wilt did not have a very good team and Bill Russell could lean on his team.
Right.
But, even there's a lot of people who are like, well, I didn't even think he was the best when he was playing, so like,
so that makes sense.
If you talk to an old timer, they'll a lot of the time say that. So yeah, I'm you need to like not post this in New England, Mike.
Well, I have a lot of family in New England. I might watch it. So.
Oh gosh.
But it'll bring in some comments.
Yeah.
Now I do want to talk about, cause I know basketball is one of the biggest global sports now. It's growing. The NBA has such a big talent gap that you have guys like Jeremy Lin, who wasn't very good, besides the whole insanity thing.
Yeah.
And now he can go and play for the Shanghai Sharks, and he's one of the best players. And you have a lot of retired NBA ballers.
Dwight Howard went and played,
and I think Allen Iverson played for a bit.
Yeah.
They're like still doing amazing. Whereas right now, if they played in the NBA, they would just they wouldn't be worth anything.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that? Why is there such a big gap in the NBA and other leagues? Is it just the resource and the money we pull in, the coaching, everything, or?
Yeah, probably from the NBA standpoint. It's also the long-standing credibility. Everybody wants to be in the NBA. So like we have Luka, Giannis, and Jokic, who are the 3 best players in the world, and none of them are from America.
Yeah.
You know?
We have Wemby, who's
and Wemby, and Wemby will by next year will probably be the 4th best player in the world. And he's not from America either. So there's the talent development, especially in Europe at this point, is equal to our talent development. It's just the power of our league. Yeah. And you're going to see within 5 years, I'm pretty confident there'll be a team in Mexico. And within 10 years, I think there will be a team in Europe. So I know that the travel is going to be rough, but it's not going to matter. They're going to figure it out. They're going to figure out whether they're going to do like quarters and make teams play over there for 2 months at a time or something. They're going to figure that out, and football will figure that out too. Right. The NFL is going to have, we see all the London games, the Madrid games every year now. They're playing 4 to 6 games out of the country, and that's going to grow considerably. Those 2 sports are going to grow considerably outside of the United States. So, I mean, obviously there'll still be American organizations, but it's not going to stay that way. And the talent pool is developing for sure, all over the world in all of the sports, because everybody's following the leader.
Mess with a bunch of, because you'll have athletes who are tired and exhausted and jet lagged and stuff. That'll definitely play with the game a lot.
Yeah, so I think what is coming, and it's going to be a somewhat of a different transition, but kind of like baseball did, but it's been 100 years. So early on in baseball, pitchers pitched every day. Every single day. You just had your best pitcher and you just pitched till his arm fell off. And then now you have to have at least 5 in your rotation, right? Every team has 5. So
is that kind of to save their to keep them from getting fatigued and also from injuries?
Oh yeah, both. Yeah, absolutely. And just performance-wise, if you have a stable of people who can all perform, then you're going to win more games. And I think we haven't gotten there yet. We have this thought process. We need less games. The leagues are not going to do less games. It's less revenue. They're like the NFL, even during Super Bowl week, was talking about adding the 18th game, and the 17th game just happened 3 years ago. And it's a lot. One extra game in the NFL is a considerable amount of pain on their bodies.
Yeah.
They're going to have to increase the roster sizes. They're going to have to do a better job. And this is, I believe, in NBA and NFL. They're going to have to increase the roster sizes and do a better job marketing the bottom end players. And filling that out. And I think, again, because the talent pool is so much better, it's not a problem. It's a problem because we have old generation marketers and agents who want to make all the money off the top.
I see.
I think there's going to be a new generation of thinkers, of sport business, sport consultants, sport organization runners, and they're like, no, we're going to have a team, and we're going to, we're
evolve the way we do things.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are going to take 20 games off every year, and they're going to schedule out the 20 games they're going to take off. But the games they're not going to play, we're going to have these guys, and we're going to have highlighted and made sure that you know what what I'm saying. And that's in the same way with like when you have Clayton Kershaw and I was trying to think of the pitcher that also hits.
I can't help you. I'm sorry. I don't know too much about baseball.
I can't believe it. Ohtani. He's the greatest baseball player in the world right now. He pitches and hits. He's like Babe Ruth. So,
okay, I do know him.
Yeah.
He had that scandal recently, right?
That wasn't his fault. That was his interpreter's fault, and his interpreter just got a jail sentence and had to pay back $59 million for that. That was terrible. Yeah, he got completely taken advantage of. But what I was trying to say is, like, just like you are able to have Ohtani pitch a game and then Clayton Kershaw, now baseball fans are excited about both. If you had Ohtani pitch all 5 games, and then you're going to say, like, oh man, we don't want him to get injured, we're going to bring somebody in, the next year, all the fans would have been in a riot. So there's going to be a transition where not everybody's going to be happy, but I really, really, really believe that this is coming. I think the leagues want more games. I think and to have more games, it'll be easier to do it if you have, if we have overseas teams, you'll want more games, like I said, because the Lakers will go play their European schedule for a month. They'll play all their European schedule games and then they'll come back.
I see.
And so you won't have jet lag all the time. You'll live in France as your base and you'll play an English game. You'll play a game in Germany, whatever. Wow. So I don't think they're going to open up one market. They're going to open like 4 at a time.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think that's the way that is the smartest to me. If there's any like, organizational league people watching this, like I do think I can help them with things like that.
Well, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I think there's a ton of opportunity for us. And I don't think like there's a lot of people like, we got to go backwards. We got to have less games. We got to make sure people aren't getting hurt. Like, no, we have too many good athletes out there that we need to highlight and we need to keep it going.
And that's so true because a lot of times, like, I'm a Boston Celtics fan. You look at big guys like Tatum and Brown and stuff like this, but there's so much other talent on the team. And since I watched the Celtics, you look at other guys that even
Peyton Pritchard,
Pritchard.
One of my favorite players.
Hey, he's got his 3-point shooting's amazing. You have so many good players. Derek White and all this. And like you're right, if you don't highlight these guys, people just want to see Tatum and Brown.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So, and oh man, Peyton Pritchard's one of my most favorite. He has 3 friends that play overseas. He hires them during the summer to guard him full court 1-on-1 for 2 hours at a time.
Oh wow!
And they only play defense, and he just goes at him, and like that's like his training style. And he's awesome. So I love Peyton Pritchard. He's one of my favorite players to watch for sure. But like you said, like they're so loaded that you barely even see Peyton play. So and I think, to a more advanced fan like me, I really love it. The casual fans are going to have to adapt to that, but they will adapt. They'll see the value in these players.
Right. Let's transition to football real quick. So I know there's the AFL, right? You're familiar with that, sort of. So I try to watch a few games. And there's like no one in the stands. There's no one. And I'm like, why is it that the NFL has such a big monopoly on football when it's kind of, and it seems like, I know college football is really a big thing too. And the rules and everything's it's real different in college football too. But it doesn't seem like there's anything that can break the monopoly that the NFL has. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so I think part of that goes to, again, really concentrating their marketing and advertising on a small amount of players. Like everybody wants to watch Lamar Jackson play the game. Everybody wants to see Patrick. They want, they're even like when you watch the tail end quarterbacks in the league, like the amount of drop off in viewership is crazy. And I think I don't think it's a talent problem as much as it is a marketing problem. There'll be a lot of people who argue with you like, oh, when you watch those leagues, they're just considerably worse. Like, I don't agree with that at all. I like you said, we've kind of established the context of sports culture is it's growing and the expertise is growing. So I think it's more of a business failure in that aspect. Not even on the AFL. It's more on the NFL needs to understand like what they can get from all of this.
Right. No, that's a good point because I always said to myself, just because you go pro, you're good. But I'm like, there's a whole nother world of talent that are either just as good, if not better, but they never get that opportunity. And I'm like, if there were different leagues, you would see other talent that might be better than, the professional leagues we see now.
Yeah. And I actually think that one of the positive consequences of the NIL is that we are going to see this goes also back to player autonomy. We are going to see, I already started this with my high school players. I tell them to start finding out what is their niche. What can they start like highlighting about themselves? Like, what are your friends make fun of you for? Because somebody else might notice that, right? So like a good example of this is Robbie Avila. He was at Indiana State men's basketball last year, and they had a good run. He wears these crazy goggles, right? Yeah, and he, I'm sure he got made fun of for him in high school, but he was ended up getting a $60,000 a year goggle contract from it. from the NIL because we got, we won like 10 in a row and he was on Sports Center and they gave,
cool.
they gave him like a nickname. They called him Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because he's white, and because Kareem Abdul-Jabbar always wore the glaze. Yeah. So he just he trended for a few days and and that gave him so much more power as an individual. And he transferred to St. Louis, but I follow him now. Right. Like, and I think that it's going to come from this organic, younger level where they're building their own brand before the teams are. And they're going to take that power away from the teams. We haven't seen it yet. The organizations and the teams have it, and they dictate who's going to be on TV and whatnot. But that power is going away. I'm telling you, the TikTok life, the younger generation, they know what they're doing, and
they can get themselves out.
Yes, there. Yep. And I think we will have comparable leagues pop up. There's a proposal for an NBA league that is similar to the LIV in golf. That's the new that is competing with the PGA. So so this just happened 2 years ago. The LIV is a new golf league, I think, put on by somebody in Dubai, and they were trying to kind of get players to leave the PGA and come to the LIV, though they didn't have to leave the PGA. But the first year, the PGA said, well, if you go there, you're not allowed to play in our tournaments. Well, enough guys that were popular went and did it, and the PGA dropped that. So that's what I'm saying. These guys, they realize, wait, the guys have the power. We don't have the power anymore. So golf is kind of a first example of this. It hasn't been talked about, but it's going to happen with the bigger leagues too. There's going to be competitive leagues that pop up. The players are going to be like, wait a second. And Caitlin Clark, I think, is going to be one that does this because she doesn't make that much in the WNBA. She can actually make more in women's basketball overseas.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so when people see that she's going to fluctuate, other players are going to see that they can fluctuate and have options. The having options is going to force the leagues to stop being so top-down dominant on that.
Nice. That's actually really cool. It's a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
The power to the players with the talent.
Yeah.
And that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Oh, that's real nice. But then there'll be so much, there'll be a lot of stipulations, because if someone's playing in a different league and they have ties to another league, it's like, what happens if they get hurt and they can't play? That's a whole nother world of mess that they have to figure out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of policy implications for sure. But so it, like I said, it'll force, so like the new basketball league that's being proposed, if they take 2 or 3 of bigger name players, like especially players that towards the end of their career, like one of the proposals was the players would get a percentage ownership in the new league. So, so older players who might not get as big a contract, like Kevin Durant's next contract, like if, he starts slowing down or whatever, or even Steph Curry, if they start slowing down, their name is still so big that they may go choose that, right? So, and so that will change the NBA to think about this differently. Like, wait a second, these guys are still valuable enough. They may not be able to be on every night. Maybe we need to make the rosters bigger. We need to expand here. So I think it's going to promote the bigger leagues to have to change some of their thinking about that kind of stuff.
Wow. How far in the near future do you think this is? 5, 10
5
years?
years. Yeah.
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the future is quicker than it's ever been because of AI and because of everything. Yeah. Because of everything. Like I would have probably told you it would have taken a decade or 2, but now 5 years maximum. I'd say we will see a competitive a league competitive to the NBA within 3 years.
Oh, wow.
It will open up. I don't know if it'll succeed, but within 3 years there will be there, because there's
in the U.S. or overseas? Or?
In the U.S., yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. And the awesome part about sports is it is close to AI proof, or robotics proof at least, right? Maybe not AI, but definitely robotics proof, right? Where if we're able to create robots that can teach better than you and I can teach, you know what I'm saying? We're out of a job. But we're never going to be able to create robots that can simulate authentic competition because it's about humans.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
that can be difficult to do because, there's so many factors. We're so dynamic. It's like some people can handle pressure well. Some people just have a good game and they just go off. Yeah. Some people who may be really good, but they're just not consistent,
Yeah, and
if
you saw a team of robots playing a team of robots in soccer, like you'd just be like, well, which one is programmed better?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? It wouldn't be about anything there'd be no storylines or anything like that. But
it could be interesting if robots like AI, they have the ability to learn from each other, and which one learns faster and better, which could be kind of autonomous. But then again, that might go back to who has the better program to learn.
Exactly. So But like, but other industries, maybe like truck driving or like moving people, and like, how quickly are we never going to have movers again? We're just going to have robots come move your stuff. Like,
Right.
like that's not going to be an industry, So
Do you think there'd be an advantage of having maybe robotic enhancements in sports? Like maybe have, I don't know, maybe
excuse me, go
in like
ahead.
sports sci-fi, we have 20-foot rims and we have shoes where people are able to jump 20 feet and dunk or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there will be, just like there's like the trampoline bounce ball game,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff. There'll be gimmicky stuff like that for sure. I think that'll definitely happen. I would think it will actually be more like nano robotic technology,
Mm.
where they would be able to put, AI circuitry in your blood that reads, hey, this person's blood sugar drops quicker than another person's blood sugar, and allows you to have a nutritional benefit to somebody else, something else.
Yeah.
That would be probably where the advantages would come in, and that I don't know where the policy would go with that, because again, if it's completely safe,
Yeah.
do we use it as a performance enhancer or do we not?
Mm.
So I don't know. Yeah, the external robotic stuff where you're taking away the human factor of it, I don't know about as much, but internally, I could definitely see it happening.
Yeah.
You
No,
know?
that's interesting. That would make a lot of interesting research because then we can get down to the science of why do some athletes who score on average 30 points a game, why are they only scoring 14 this game?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did their blood sugar levels
Yeah.
drop? When they say your head is just not in the game, what does that really mean? Are they just not focusing? I mean, clearly they're trying to win, but what does it really mean?
Yeah.
And maybe the science can tell us about that. So
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
Well, and then there's going to be privacy concerns, because now does a player want to have a whiskey at night when he's out at the bar, because they're going to know exactly what you had,
Yeah.
So oh man, there's a lot of that goes in a whole policy and governance structure that I don't want to even touch. That
Right.
scares me.
Well, Colin, we've done a little over an hour now. I had a great time. I hope you did too.
Yeah,
We
awesome.
got to do another one because there's so
Yeah,
much I want to
I
talk
could go
about.
forever.
And we could talk about other things too,
Yeah.
but this sports topic was so much fun.
Yeah.
Lastly, for closing questions, is there anything you would like to say about your passion and what inspired you, or anything about sports and sports culture you would like our viewers to know? Anything off the top of your head?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that I hope, and I've told a lot of people this, I hope that everybody in life finds something that, like I have. Like, I knew I was going to be into sports management. I got that as a freshman in college. I never deviated from that. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew, I've always been competitive and I love sports, and it gives me a purpose all the time. Like, even my wife, she likes what she does, but sometimes I think she feels like she has a lack of purpose sometimes and whatnot. I mean, we have kids, so it's pretty easy to get back to that. But I definitely see people who are, in depressive states and things like that. It's because they don't have that purpose. And I feel sorry. Like, I've had friends in severe depression before, and I've said, I really feel really sorry for you, because I cannot even resonate with you. I've never even got close to that, because I'm so passionate about sports, and just every day I wake up and feel happy to be able to compete with life and everything. So I hope that everybody gets to find that. So that would kind of be my closing out.
Cool. Well, thanks for sharing that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
We'll do another one.
Yeah.
This was great. So
Yeah.
thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed that interview, please click like, share, and subscribe to support my content. If you have any questions for our guests, please leave them in the comments section, or message me on Instagram for a response video and a special shout out to you. Until next time, I'm your host, Rocky Lowe, saying, learn with purpose and live with passion. Stay rational, folks.